Hi, Carolyn. I thought I'd make a quick recording of what we talked about yesterday, and so you can refer to it like I mentioned I would do and then failed to do, so here you go. I'm in the test course we're working in here, and going down to the assignment we're working in right there. First though, let me go ahead and turn editing on and make sure this part's clear about how when you first go to create an activity or resource, in this case an assignment, when you click add, that takes you directly into the settings page. Remember how we talked about taking a detailed tour and making all the decisions on how you want the settings to perform, to make your assignment perform, because you're going to wind up duplicating this over and over again. So the settings page is where you first go to. Let me cancel this though and go into the settings for the one we worked on yesterday by clicking on edit, down to edit settings. So here's the settings page, of course, for this assignment. So kind of revisiting the idea of taking the detailed tour. Of course, you're going to have a more detailed instruction set in here in the description field for your students. This indicates whether you want those instructions to play out directly on the course start page, right underneath the link where it has the title for the link itself. I kind of use this sparingly because the more you use this on different resources and activities, the more that your course page is going to be lengthy, because it's going to add some height to the page. So I almost never, I should say, turn this on. We talked about availability as far as if you set these, any or all of these dates are going to adjust as you go from term to term, as you adjust the course start date, either in the settings for the course itself or on a reset. We talked about submission types being for your assignments, file submissions only, not really worrying about the online text. And we'll get to where that file submission comes from in a minute too, with that Google Doc template. You want to be able to offer feedback, comments in the grading interface. And then, let's see, I guess I would recommend, I think we usually recommend that they do have a submit button, because it can be unclear to a student if the submit button is not visible. And we didn't talk about that last night, but there that is. We had talked about group submission settings. Well, we're going to revisit that later on anyway, about your groups, the idea, we talked about that. And basically how many points each individual written assignment submission is going to be for your students. Here's one of the two ways we talked about implementing a rubric into your grading. This is the method to go directly. I oftentimes miss this though, and I have to go back into the advanced grading area and choose rubric at that point. But either way, you'll get to the same place. And put it in the written assignments category in the grade book. The categories in there to show up in this drop down have got to show up first by creating categories in your gradebook setup screen. Then last we talked about activity completion, that little checkbox, and that's going to be checked when the conditions are met of you having graded each assignment activity for your students. That blank check box will be filled with a check at that point for the students. So you've taken your detailed tour at this point. Save and return to course. And if you're ready at that point to make another instance for week 2 and week 3 and week 4, remember over here in the edit menu, duplicate it and drag it down to week 2. Make your edits to the name and to if there's any instructions, if there's anything different. But if you nail down a good template doc to deliver, you could probably get away with using that same template for all of your assignments, but it kind of depends on how you want those to run. And then you just duplicate over and over and over again. I'm going to take this one out for now though, so we'll only have the one. And there it is. So let's revisit basically this right here. When I click into it, here are the instructions for it. So you have a link behind this link right here. You have a URL behind this link going to your the copy version of that Google Doc. And so here's that Google Doc up here. Remember how we had previously shared this with anyone with the link can view. Remember, the process is basically copy that link, click done here. I'll just get a new tab here for now. Remember, I mentioned how everything from the word edit out to the right, if you just replace that with the word copy, that now is the link that you're going to want to use. Remember how that's going to work. We can get another screen over here. Another browser tab from another browser window that I'm logged in elsewhere on, and just demonstrate what that looks like again. Here's what your students would. Oh, my mistake. I have the access to that in that account also. Basically, again, this is going to show you the students that screen that we saw last night about where they can make a copy directly that will they will then own. So your students would then have a version of this that they have editing permission on. You'd probably want to just copy and paste the instructions between the Moodle assignment and this area up here, maybe, so the instructions are seen more than once. And speaking of that rubric again, it would be the same thing that you'd have in your Moodle course down here. Remember, this is just an idea to give your students space to input their typewritten response to the assignment and spend like that. At which point, when they're done, they'd go up to File. This might be in your instructions. File, down to Download As. Probably, well, we're recommending either Word or PDF. They download that, upload that into the Moodle assignment. So back to that Moodle assignment, one last tour into that, and here under Advanced Grading in the Administration block, under Advanced Grading, there's where you can create and access that rubric. So if you were creating one from scratch, this would say, I believe this button right here would say something like create, I forget what it says now, but it basically create a new rubric, because we already have one in this assignment. You don't need to. If you wanted to edit it, though, of course you click Edit. And then how easy it was, again, to click in these cells in here and make any edits you want. Pretty straightforward. Yeah. And that is the majority of the stuff we covered yesterday. Hope that helps. I'll go ahead and close this out for now. Of course, any questions you can email or include it in that shared Google Doc, and we shall continue. Thanks.